So today we're cleaning a car. So I'm gonna try to make it more interesting than just another car wash video, because you've probably seen plenty of those. But we wanna go into a couple details about, maybe stuff that's commonly missed, a couple details about the BMW that we're gonna be washing, and also details about the products. We're gonna be going over wheel cleaner, our foam pre-wash, shampoo, ceramic detailer, which would be a detail spray and a drying aid, as well as our tire dressing. All of these should be enough to properly clean a car, with maybe the addition of tire cleaner. So let's get started. This is the car that we're going to be washing this morning. This is an E92 M3. A very desirable generation of the BMW sports car, thanks to its naturally aspirated V8. This one is a 6-speed manual. Very fun car to drive, not only just to the car show, but in the canyons around the track as well. This is almost the pinnacle, debatably the pinnacle, of BMW M3s. So as I'm filling up these buckets with water, kind of talk to you about ideal car washing situation or conditions. Not everyone's fortunate to have a drain inside a shop or inside a garage, so we're gonna be washing outside. Now, direct sunlight is not ideal, especially for darker colored cars, but we're just gonna have to be pretty cautious with stuff drying on the surface. We have 3 buckets here: wash, rinse, wheels. Always what we recommend to prevent damage, but when it comes to actually washing your car, ideally you're in shade or it's an overcast day. Some people actually use an Easy Up in their driveway, which is a pretty good move, but then you do have to sit up in Easy Up. But if you see any products drying, go back over with product, rinse it off if you can, and just try to dry as soon as possible when working in direct sun. Now, why do we clean the wheels first? This is going to be the most dirty, by far, part of your car. It's got brake dust. It's also going to be the only thing touching the surface when you're actually driving. It's low to the ground. It's gross. So if you don't clean this first, what can happen is when you clean your wheels, you're rinsing it off. Some of that can be sprayed up onto the surface there. So we want to guarantee that we're cleaning the wheels and tires first. When it comes to product, Iron Wheel Cleaner Redefined is going to be our only option. It's going to be safe for coated wheels like these. It's also safe for uncoated wheels, raw metal wheels. The only ones I wouldn't use it on are carbon ceramics. Now for that, you can use a foam or bathe and work it as normal. Good thing about this one is it actually has that iron decontamination property, which will help dissolve all the brake dust on these wheels. It's also going to be thick and very viscous, meaning that it doesn't run off the wheel after you spray it. It actually sits on the surface and works all the contamination and allows you to rinse it off. Sometimes, if you have coated wheels, just spraying this and rinsing it off is all it's going to need. But we're going to go ahead and agitate it with a couple tools, like a wheel brush and a actual wheel mitt here. When it comes to actually spraying the product on the wheel itself, I usually like to spray the barrel first. That's usually going to be the nastiest part. I'm gonna go ahead and mist it all over the face. And then we let the product sit on here for a couple minutes. You will start to notice it turning purple. Now that is actually the chemicals in it reacting with those metal particles, and that's the iron decon working. Now, these 359M competition wheels aren't very complex, but some BMW wheels have a crazy amount of spokes and they're super difficult to clean properly. Just take your time, make sure you get around your lug nuts or bolts, and get your caliper and get in the barrel as well. If you protect your wheels, it helps a lot, but wheel cleaning, just take your time, do it first, do it properly. Next, we have the pre-wash portion. Now, a lot of people say that you should just rinse the car off with a pressure washer or a hose first. What we like to do is actually use a product called foam in that process. This is 5 parts water, 1 part foam in this foam lance, and when we spray that on, the layer of chemical will emulsify and encapsulate the heavier grime. That's going to allow us to rinse off a lot more dirt and debris versus just spraying it with water. So you can actually see that the water is, even after just a pre-wash, already beating well. It's coated with GYEON. So when it comes to the actual hands-on portion of this wash, we're gonna be using a Smoothie Evo, really soft, really nice microfiber, and then we're gonna use Bathe. Now this is going to be a pH neutral, super sudsy, super slick. You actually want lubricity on the surface when you're using a wash mitt. That will prevent any sort of marring and basically be safer when washing your car with a mitt. We're also using multiple buckets, as you should during this process. So I can explain to you how to wash a car many different ways. I'll give you kind of tips and some kind of tricks on how I would normally go about it. Typically going to start at the top and work our way down as we go so we can use those suds later. Straight motions for the most part. Obviously if you're going around door handles, mirrors, stuff like that, it's not always going to be possible. And I'm just going to work my way down the car. Going to hit this half first and then hit the other half. And the main thing that we're trying to do is hit every surface. You know, you're gonna have along the edge of the roof here, there's a lot of trim, and you just wanna make sure you hit all those spots. Under the wipers, of course. So I would work pretty much like that size section at a time. And then what you do is you've collected all this dirt and contamination in the wash mitt, you go to your rinse bucket. Go ahead, drop your mitt in there, agitate the fibers, and what that does for us is everything that we picked up in that section of the car, it actually is now gonna be in that bucket. So then when we go to the wash bucket with all of our suds, we're not bringing it back to the next section on the car. So another reason why you want to work top to bottom is typically, you know, your rocker panels, your rear bumper, and the lower areas are going to be more dirty. So you typically want to finish with that area and then go to your rinse bucket before moving on to the next area. Another area to consider is your exhaust. Now this has a Remus catback system, which looks nice and shiny right now. It's gonna be a tricky area if your exhaust tips are super smoked and they look really nasty. Maybe it's not a good idea to wash it during this part, and you should wait and wash those individually at another time. Now, when it comes to the side of a car, I'll kind of show you how I go through it. I'm usually gonna go across the top, go across the pillars here, and squeezing the mitt, allowing this whole side to be covered with shampoo and water. And we're gonna do similar thing, working top to bottom, hit all of our intricate areas. You know, you can move this because these areas under here like to collect a lot of contamination and road film. Windows are pretty straightforward. Be cautious when your car has piano black. That's an area that gets scratched very easily. Gonna go ahead and hit the door. Spend extra time around the door handle. And luckily on an E92, you have these nice big body lines, which allows you to kind of segment the sides and work a section at a time as you're going down. I'm probably gonna do the front end kind of in one piece. So I've hit this top area. I went ahead and flipped my wash mitt to do this part. In this back area, I'm gonna use this panel gap as my cutoff. So when it comes to the rocker panel, when it comes to the lowest part of the car, that you definitely wanna hit just once and then go to your rinse bucket. For the front, always start at the top of the hood. Similar motions, you want to do straight. You have these hood vents here that you might want to take a little bit more time and working at the edge of all of them. I'm gonna go ahead and do that half. So obviously, front grills are gonna be complex. You wanna really work in here, and some people will use a soft bristle brush and really work your way in there. This is pretty long fibers on here that generally I can do a good job getting in there and yield good results. So when you're rinsing the car, and this also applies to rinsing foam off, if you notice that the car has a lot of suds and foam that's staying in the channels, what you can do is kind of just use a lot of volume, not pressure. So for this, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the nozzle out of the pressure washer. I'm gonna turn the pressure washer off. And then I'm going to go ahead and just rinse out all of these channels. You want a lot of volume. You don't want a lot of pressure, because if you keep just spraying a ton of pressure in there, it's actually gonna generate more and more suds. We're just gonna go ahead and work our way around all the common areas and rinse it all out to make sure that we can move on to the drying step. For the drying portion of this car, we're gonna use two things. One, Silk Dryer Evo, two-sided towel. One has loops to pick up the water. One's tightly woven to store all the water. It's really thin. There's some thick towels out there that get really heavy, and it's not ideal when it's on your car. And we're gonna actually use this in combination with ceramic detailer as a drying aid. Now, this is gonna be used as a lubricant on the towel, which should allow it to glide over this car very easily. Now, the car is coated already. You can also do this on a non-coated car, but this will ensure that this towel glides over the car and doesn't induce any sort of damage. So you're probably wondering how much product to use in the towel for a drying aid. Well, all I'm gonna do is first I'm gonna open it. Then I'm gonna give a couple sprays. Honestly, 3 sprays to start off. You wanna just go ahead and toss the towel over the panel. And then you can pull it. Just let the weight of the towel go across the surface. And if it's one like the Silk Dryer Evo, it'll pick up all the water for you. I've went ahead and hit the top of the car as well as the windows to make sure that nothing dries in there in water spots. I'm gonna now move to the sides. I'm gonna go ahead and spray a little bit more ceramic detailer in here. Just a little bit, it just takes a light dusting of it. And when it comes to working the side, now obviously this is a towel that's pretty tall, so I'm gonna actually hold it at the top and then just kind of spread it around to any sort of water spots that I see. Prevent it from touching the ground. If it touches the ground, I recommend washing it, or if you have another towel, go ahead and use that. But I'm just gonna hold it up here at the top. That way I'm not just putting a ton of pressure on the side of the car. Odds are we missed a couple spots. There's probably some water spots here and there. Since we already have ceramic detailer, I'm gonna use it like normal as a detail spray. Go ahead, touch up all those spots and make sure that there's a sacrificial layer of protection on the surface, guaranteeing that the coating will last as long as it should. We're gonna use a polish wipe. Nice thing about the polish wipe is it has 2 sides here, but this kind of like medium length fiber here is gonna be great for applying any sort of sealant or detail spray like ceramic detailer. Now, a lot of people like to use a detail spray and just go crazy with it and go ahead and just spray it all over the surface and get it everywhere. I like to be a little bit more strategic. I'm gonna go ahead and just do 3 to 4 sprays in the towel. I'm gonna go ahead and cover my entire working area. I'm gonna split this like roof in half. This is the dry side. Spread the product first, buff off until your desired result. Last but not least, we're going to address these tires, and we're going to use tire dressing. Now, we're going to use Tire Express from GYEON, and the reason that I think this is one of the more underrated products in the lineup is that it's so easy to apply. It gives you that like matte OEM look, and now that it's getting a little bit later in the morning, the sun's coming up, these tires are actually heating up a little bit, and that's better because what it's going to do is actually going to suck in the dressing a little bit more to the pores. It's going to soak in there, and that should ultimately last longer over time. Super easy to apply, and to do so, we're actually going to use the tire applicator. This is the small variant. There's a big and small depending on the size of your tires. Cool thing about this is actually it has like this nice little curvature on here, which fits to the tire. So all it's gonna be is probably one big pump, and I'm gonna go ahead and like dab it in a couple spots on the tire. Now I want to spread the product around, so if you put it here and work it, it's going to be thinner once you get to this other side here. You want to work vertically just to make sure that the dressing gets into all those nooks and crannies. I hope you were able to learn maybe a trick or two on this Sunday morning, a little bit more in-depth wash of this E92 M3. Now, don't forget to drive your car.